Good day to you, gentle person on the internet, and thank you for joining me as we have a look at Nasubi. And this is an interesting game. Both in itself, it's a fairly solid sort of gameplay experience. I played a little bit into it on Firefox. It worked fine. We're now on Chrome, and hopefully it's working fine as well. But it's also interesting because of the real-world event that it is based on. And I'm going to talk about that just a little bit, not too long. I know I jabber on a bit too much at the beginnings of these videos, but this is really quite interesting. This is quite fascinating and quite insane. So the event was a game show, a Japanese game show, and now I know people like to think of Japanese game shows as insane. Some of them are. The vast majority of Japanese television is actually quite normal and prosaic, from what I gather. But they do have these quite wacky game shows that pop up every so often, especially in the 80s to the early 2000s. Seem to be their sort of golden era, their heyday. And this was from the late 90s. And it is probably one of the pinnacles of insanity. So this guy called Nasubi, that's his nickname. His real name is Tomoaki Hamatsu, or Hamatsu Tomoaki if you're Japanese. But his head was he has quite a sort of an elongated head. So they gave him the nickname Eggplant, which seems to be a kind of a Japanese thing of more endearment than any actual critique or cruelness. I don't know. The cultural shift is a bit strange. Anyway, so he was the contestant on this game show, and what they did was they locked him in a room with nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean he took his clothes off. He was naked. And they gave him a stack of postcards and a stack of magazines with competitions in them, sweepstakes or whatever they were. And he had to write into the competitions and basically survive off of the stuff that he won, and kind of the ostensible intention of the game show was to try and see who if somebody could survive off just winning things from competitions if they entered a lot of them, but the real motivation is just to make someone live in an insane situation and see how they survive and how they react to it. And I believe Nasubi was insanely popular because he reacted in the correct Japanese manner, which was kind of stern, staunch tolerance and endurance. That is kind of a major component of Japanese I want to say something like manliness or sort of good character, is enduring adversity without complaint, just with determination and squaring your shoulders and just getting on with surviving and doing what needs to be done. That is a very, very great Japanese virtue, my understanding of it, and he demonstrated that in spades. So he literally had absolutely nothing but the four walls of this room and this pile of magazines and postcards, and he had to just spend ages filling the things in and I suppose handing them out to somebody who would go and then mail them for him. And at first they just gave him some kind of dry biscuits to survive on until he won these kind of sugary drinks, and then they stopped giving him the biscuits. And then he won rice at one point, but he didn't have anything to cook it with at first, so I assume he had water and a toilet. But anyway, so he had nothing to cook the rice in, so he had to kind of eat it raw and survive on it raw in some way until he figured out there was some kind of heater to keep him from freezing, I suppose. And he managed to put the rice in a bag, I'm guessing with some water, and leave it next to the heater to soften so he could eat it. He had zero entertainment and nobody to talk to. He was completely cut off from all outside communication. The film crew didn't really talk to him or anything, other than to give him occasional instructions. And he believed that they would be filming him for sort of like episodes, and then would be editing the episodes. But it was actually somewhat of a live stream, and they actually had a guy with a joystick moving around a little sort of eggplant symbol on the screen to cover his genitals, to make it safe for transmission. I'm guessing there was quite a few slips there. Nevertheless, that's the other reason he got the nickname Eggplant. And yeah, it became insanely popular because of his character and his personality, and because it's quite a nutty show and people like to watch that kind of thing. To the point where they nearly discovered where the location was, and people started trying to get into the place and talk to him. So they had to move him in a hurry, and I think they moved him out of Japan into like South Korea somewhere, and yeah, he was popular there as well. And eventually he managed to win enough money, the sort of the combined value of his properties to win the competition. But they didn't tell him this. They didn't tell him how popular he was or anything. And they sort of told him he was moving again, and they moved to a different location, and then the sort of the director of the show came in, but didn't say anything to him, just kind of knelt down there with him and started letting off fireworks. And Nasubi was like, what's going on? And then he suddenly realized, he's like, did I win? And at which point the walls kind of fell down from around him, and he was in a studio made up to look like another apartment. And there was like a live studio audience there and things like that, which is nuts. He won like lingerie at one point, which was the only clothes that he won, but he couldn't even wear that. It was women's lingerie and too small for him. He did win a computer game, and the console to play it on. And I think he won some VHSs at one point, but he didn't have anything to play them on for a while, until he actually won a TV with a VHS player built into it, and was able to then watch these shows that he watched over and over again. And otherwise, he just had these magazines with sweepstakes in that he just had to, and these postcards. He just had to keep filling in postcard after postcard after postcard, trying to enter these competitions and win them. Yeah, and as an exercise of insanity and endurance and things like that, it was quite nuts. And I very much doubt anybody could do a show like that. Maybe in a country like Japan or something where the tolerances are different, but certainly in the Western markets, people would just get sued to oblivion if they tried to treat people like that in a stage. This kind of show, well, the organization that owned the show and produced it, they'd produce other episodes where they had somebody traveling all the way from the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa to the northern Cape in Norway. They basically had to hike up through Africa. And they collapsed in the Sahara Desert that they were trying to travel through, and one of the contestants and was airlifted to hospital. There was all these other crazy things that massive test of endurance that this show series put people through. But this was the first in the series, and it really did make the show, despite the fact that poor old Nasubi was essentially tortured through isolation and through sort of nutritional limitations, not quite starvation but close, and humiliation and things like that. I don't know. It was a nutty idea, so I was very excited when I found a game based on it. And it's weird. Normally, when you have games based on real life events like this, the games can be sort of a little more insane about it. But in this case, I think the game actually took it easier. Anyway, I have jabbered on about it enough. Look it up in Wikipedia if you want the details of the show. It is interesting reading, and Nasubi as well. He's quite a popular character. So yeah, I do recommend having a look at that. Nevertheless, let us play the game. Let's see how the game works. I haven't played it too much, but I think I've worked out the basic mechanisms. So looking at our UI here, we have no money at the moment. We haven't won any money, and we need $200, not for the total to win the game show, but I think to unlock something. And we're being told what's going on. So it says, "Hi Nasubi. We need your luck to find out whether it's possible to live on lotteries." The text clips a little bit there. "For the experiment, you need to undress, because you have to get all your items from lotteries, so literally everything. So we can hold down E to take off our pants, and we throw it, and this is like a recycling thing. When we throw something into there, it gives us some money, and this is pretty much how we make money. Okay, it's a little bit laggy. It's loading stuff. Alright, I think we've loaded everything. Let's take off our shirt and throw it into the recycler and take off our underwear. So we've made $150 so far of the 200 for our first unlock, but we're still being tutorialized. So it's WASD to move around, C to crouch, and use the phone to register for the lottery. So just looking around our room, we have a window that we can't look out of. We have a door that we can't go out of, but things arrive through there. We have a poster saying we can do it. No matter who you are, you can do anything. And I think that's quite a strong testament to what the show is looking for from Nasubi. This tolerance of just enduring and doing anything. I wonder if that was actually a poster in the real room. I don't know. We're on some nice tatami floor. The walls are quite pleasant actually, so it's not a bad room to be stuck in, but we don't have a bed or anything here. I imagine Nasubi didn't have a bed either. He probably just slept on the floor, although sleeping on tatami is quite nice if this was the kind of floor he had. And he must have had a toilet. I hope he had a toilet and a source of water. He didn't die, so presumably. Right, so at the top of our we have a kind of bar that is regressing. I'm not quite sure how that wraps into things, but we do start to, I don't know, starve or something like that at some point. We also have the screen where we can upgrade things. So they've built an incremental element into the game. So we have costs for food, so that'll boost our recycling, the amount of money that we get from recycling. We have a cost of 3 food, our chance to win the food lottery, and we have a cost of 3 food, win the books lottery, which I think we unlock at $200. So those are our unlocks. Here we have the list of the numbers we need to call. So we don't fill in postcards, we phone numbers. And the phone number is there, 687. Food lottery, 80% to win. That gets updated as we buy the upgrades, I think. So we call. We actually call in a rotary dial, which is quite nice. 687 is the number for our food lottery. So 6, 8, and 7. We're registered for the food lottery. And congratulations, we won a prize. Open the door to collect the prize. So we now go over to the door, and the prize arrives, and we open it, and food jumps out. Now we don't actually eat the food, we have to recycle the food. Oh, I didn't go in there, so let's put this one in. Okay, so we have 180, so let's call again. I think that counts as us actually eating the food, in terms of kind of the we didn't win that time. Yeah, in terms of surviving, we seem to okay, so now what we need to do when stuff goes weird like this, we have to hit space to recover from us, and our money goes down as that whenever that happens. So I think that's kind of just to eat some of the money and make it not quite so straightforward to win. Let's call again. 6, 8, 7. Okay, we won, so we should be able to unlock the next lottery in a moment. Ooh, 3 pizzas, nice. Alright, so we have unlocked something else. So now if we have a look at... Oh, hang on. Alright. We now have a new number to call, 441, which is our books lottery for 7% to win. If we have a look at our upgrades, we can buy some upgrades. I think, should we try and boost the money we get from recycling items? Yes. Oh, and we can get that one again. Alright. So that's up to 120% now. It doesn't upgrade when we click on it. I think as it fills in, that means it will eventually max out, so we can only do that 3 times. So let us call 441. 4. We're losing our money. Let's try this again. 4, 4, 1. Hey, we won a prize. Alright, I think we were getting $10 for each food thing. So now we have books that we win. $24. Alright, so I think the base amount is more than the food, but we've also increased it with our upgrade. Alright, not bad. Okay. Should we just try and get a bit more food. I don't know how, if there is a survival element in it. I see that bar at the top of our thing is... Okay, so we do need to keep getting food to fill the bar up and surviving. It's, I suppose, it's testament to Nasubi's difficult survival. Alright. Alright. What we can do is we can make it a bit more likely to win this. Alright, so it's gone up to 90%. We need more food. Close lottery. One random unlocked material. Increases the chance of receiving an extra lower tier material when recycling an item by 10%. Yeah, sure. Let's do that. Let's get some more food. I think we're going to have a dizzy spell in a second. Yeah, there we go. I don't know if our progression bar at the top affects how often we get the disease spells. If it's supposed to be a statement in our starvation. 6, 8, 7. Alright, we won again. So we're doing okay there. Let's max out, so we now are always going to win the food lottery chance, because that's now at 100%. And let's, yeah, so we're going to increase the amount of money we get from the things. I think that is maxed out now. I don't know, it still has a cost there, so let's get 4 food and see if we can still get money from that. It does get a bit repetitive. Oh. This is actually quite difficult. One more. Alright, so we're guaranteed of winning the food lottery. Bearing in mind, of course, that the actual true Nasubi entered many, many competitions and didn't win most of them. Alright, can we upgrade this? Item value. Did that upgrade? No. Alright, so 130% is the maximum. So this is the next one. We need books, so we need to get some books. So what we can do is we can increase the chance of winning the book lottery. Alright, so that's nearly full. So let's do a book call. The book call is quite difficult to do because you have to go further around the rotary. Yeah, we won a prize. Stuck there for a moment. Let's recycle them books. Can I increase the value now? Yes. Alright. That's going up. Now do the books are also increasing my bar at the top, aren't they? They are. Does that mean I get less of the... Oh! I don't know, I think the dizzy things are not something we can make go away, they just happen. Alright, so we have a new thing now. I need more books to maximize that out. And I need to get clothes. So there's our new number, 142. Alright, well, let's keep going with the books. 4. Oh, come on. 4 and 1. Hang on, can I? Well, it's not. Yes. Oh, is the bar just a visual representation of how close I am to the next thing? I wonder. Oh, where'd the book go? There it is. It turned invisible for a moment there. Quite glad I sort of figured out where it was in the thing. Alright, so let's buy that. Okay, so we've maxed that out. Now we need to get clothes. And where is the clothing thing? Okay, so we need more books to start maxing out our chances of winning the clothing lottery. So let's do one more book purchase. Get this. Alright. We have an 80% chance of winning, not bad. What was the number? 142. 142. Alright. Let's see what clothes we get. Just looks like a skirt. That also looks like a skirt. So we're doing pretty good there. Was I really able to buy that? Yeah. Oh, because of course I put those other clothes in originally. Alright, so we had a bonus there. So I need another 3 clothes items to start increasing that. I suppose I need to increase this as well. That's nice. Anyway, alright, let's get more clothes. Got dizzy looking at that. 142, yeah? 2. Oh, we got some kind of... Oh, it's a shirt with a funny character art. Okay. Folded clothes, off you go. Alright, and so now we've got the new number of toys. And then tech near the end, and I suppose that'll then progress us to where we finally win, as it were. Up. We can actually increase these. I think we must have gotten a bit of a bonus from that previous one. Alright, and that is all I'm going to do. What I am going to do is I'm just going to try dialing some emergency numbers here. Nope. Well, bad phone doesn't allow you to dial emergency numbers. Alright, and we can't open anything or anything like that. So I'm going to leave it for you guys to come and play this and see if you can win it and get through to the end. Do we have any critiques for it? Okay, we have pretty decent quality of life controls and the UI. The tutorial was not bad. I think the tutorial could be a lot smoother, a lot more obvious on what to do and how to do it. I kind of figured it out, but I felt like I was struggling to understand exactly what to do. So I would recommend that the dev works a little bit more on the tutorial. That would be my strongest critique there. Otherwise, the rest of the UI is fine. This was a submission to the Very Serious Juniper Dev Game Jam, which looks like a really interesting game jam. So if you're interested in game jams, definitely go and give that one a check out. I liked the vibe a lot from what little I looked at it. So it's a good game jam, and this is a very, very impressive offering for the game jam. So I hope it does well. I think it deserves to. yeah, the game sounds nice. It's got that sort of little intimidating hum in the background. Um, you could add a few more sound effects. I like the footsteps, maybe some beeps when you click on the computer rather than just the soft tick. Um, and going back to tutorial, I think a bit more explanation of what the dizziness fit is and things like that. And then I did also see people in the comments saying things like that it got a bit repetitive. So yeah, more variance on it, a slightly more fleshed out sort of negative effect that we were working towards, a bit more lore behind why we're having that effect, all that kind of thing. Maybe you need to win food just to eat food. It's not part of the progression to unlock other items. More visual display of the bathroom and things like that we have to do, and then maybe more sign of cameras and things like that. So we're obviously being filmed or something. I don't know if this is meant to be a game show or just a scientific experiment, but something along those lines. A bit more background, a bit more lore. Otherwise, yeah, no, this game is fantastic. I enjoy it a lot. I think it looks good. I think it's based on a very, very interesting concept. I think it's an interesting implementation of the lore, and I'm impressed, and I hope this video does it justice. So I'm going to say thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you disliked the video, then leave a dislike. But then leave a comment telling me what you liked or disliked, or anything else you want to leave a comment to tell me about. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see me review indie games. I do a lot of them, an average of one a day. So that is a lot of little bits of entertainment shoved into your inbox that I'm very enthusiastically going through. So subscribe if that sounds good to you, and that will also teach YouTube that you're interested in gaming, and I assume you are because you are watching a video about gaming. And thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. I hope you have a lot of luck with this one, and goodbye.